Okay, we'll go to my good point now. Right, my good point is going to be a more specific one. I'm thinking of it because of I Am Dallas and the fact the major's coming. One of the teams I feel like a lot of people have bailed on narratively. The two obvious teams is Aurora, the former Eternal Fire Turkish players, and then it's MongolZ. And it's the exact same reason for both teams, is that loads of times in the group stages, they look like they can be as good as any team out there. They can actually take the big teams to the limit and upset them. But the problem they both have is when you put them in the playoffs, you may as well bet your house on the other team. The amount of times they're just like half as good or their star players. And I actually think, even though everyone was out on MongolZ because they failed so many times, bro, this Dallas gave me so much fucking faith it can turn around, Maui. Like when I watched this one, I wish people, if you think MongolZ always choke, go watch this tournament because I'll tell you, here's how it went, right? In the actual group, when they played Vitality in, yes, the game without pressure, because it's the one we've already made the stage, mate, I actually think that might be the closest anyone's coming to beating Vitality, aside from that, like, one time Falcons was at 12-6 on Nuke. Like, that was a really close series. MongolZ could have won that one. Then you look, they beat Aurora fairly decently, and then they had a very close semi-final against Mouse Sports, too. Like, I think there's a world where this team could actually have been in the finals. So, even though everyone's sort of bailed now, and they're all like, forget them, they're never going to make it, they're choked, I feel like actually coming into the major, this can be a dark horse. I think they're in a really good spot, MongolZ, mate. They look like they're sort of heated up and they're about ready to maybe explode. So I'm hyped. Well, any thoughts on the MongolZ, Valley? What do you think of this team?
Yeah, it's they are two very exciting teams to watch for sure, Aurora and MongolZ, and yeah, they've had some struggles when it really matters, like in the playoff games and stuff like this. But to me, it feels like they are so close that it's only a matter of time.
Right.
If they can stick with the plan and keep working on the mistakes that they are doing, they are so close that it's only a matter of time. I would actually think it would be too bad if they started changing players or stuff like that. I think that they should stick it out as it looks right now. And I know that maybe the narrative has been that we've been waiting for such a long time already for these teams to actually go all the way. But then again, they've been consistently, just below the top tier. So I really think that it's gonna be their time to win these games anytime now, and maybe it's only about adjusting those last small details in a game plan or getting together with tactic wise if they have some time to prepare. So I definitely think that we're gonna see a team like MongolZ. They're still such a fresh team. Imagine how much they have done coming from, I don't want to say nowhere, but...
No, but this way, think of your day, Valley. When people like the Chinese and the Koreans came, they didn't instantly be good. It took them a few years to grind up. It took them ages.
And they've established themselves at such a high level.
Yes.
And actually maybe found the ground floor on this level. So I think right now, I hope that's what they're putting their work into, trying to understand how are we going to take the next step. And I'm always a believer in trying to stick together.
Yes.
And, losing is also going to make you better as a unit and as a team. You actually have to go through the hard times to find the solutions and to become better. So I would definitely put my money on that we're gonna see them break through quite soon.
What do you think, Maui?
I feel like the MongolZ are in a weird position where it's clear that they're good enough at their peak to be, I'd say, top 4 at many events, but I think the reason that people are out on them is that they haven't really proven. It's weird that they've both proven that they are good enough to take maps off of the best teams in the world, but then they've also proven that they can lose to a lot of different teams.
Oh, sure.
And I think that puts you in a very poor position where, for example, the one event that really made me sell a little bit of my Mongol stock was the Blast Open Lisbon event. It was 2 months ago, to be fair to the MongolZ, but when they lost to they lost a map to M80 there, but then they also lost to G2, and they lost to them 0-2 in the game that would have qualified them to go to the actual Lisbon Arena portion to the playoffs. And they lost to G2 in the group stage when it was, admittedly, MongolZ was still on the team there, and it was a full-strength G2, but the way they lost was just so bad, where it was just, they lost a really, really close match on their own Ancient, and then they just got blown out of the water completely on Dust 2. Like, they didn't even really get into the game. And just something about the way that they played and it's almost like the propensity to make mistakes from the individuals and to just die in untradeable ways away from everybody else, where it's clear that they really probably shouldn't be a focal point or like a point of action. And then they just kind of introduced a losing condition into a round that shouldn't have had that. Those are the moments where I'm like, oh, like, I'm seeing less of those though. That's the good part about it. I'm seeing them tighten up their game, where I do think that they're still a little bit more individually focused than I would want, but I would rather they be in this position than Aurora, where it's almost like you're just going to move as a group, and if that group, if you get flanked, you're in a bad position. Like, I like watching the Mongols a lot more than Aurora. I'll put it like that. I just think that the style they play lends itself to having a higher ceiling in the long run. It's just about everybody playing more and more and more perfectly, and also their individuals being in tip-top form all the time. I guess you could say that about everybody, though. I just wish they, maybe in some sense, I guess I wish they moved a little bit away from these spread out defaults and did a little bit more of what Vitality do, where you just outline what you want to do on the map and you just kind of make it obvious to everybody on your team. But yeah, it almost feels like they still are one of the teams on rounds that tries to maintain like that 2018 style of defaulting and try to run it. But it's cool. It's cool to see it. I'm not out on them. Like, I think that they're going to make it to the playoffs of the major. If you had to ask me today, are they making it to top 8 of the major? I would have to say yes. There's no way I'm going to try to go so contrarian on them. But I just haven't seen the proof yet that they can beat the best in the world, like, all the way through the BO3. And that's where I'm a little bit like, they're like almost perfectly ranked for me right now. Like, I think they are just the 5th best team in the world. So I'm not really like super high on them. I'm not really super low. I think they have kind of slotted in nicely, and they've been pretty consistent at the last couple of events I've watched of them.
Here, I'll give you a counterpoint as to why I believe in this team more than I believe in Aurora, even though I actually think Aurora maybe even has a higher ceiling. I mean, they actually literally have beaten the best teams. The difference is this, Maui. When I watch Aurora fail in the playoffs, often actually Xantara's their best player does play well, and they just don't have, the rest of the team doesn't show up. The actual player who does drop off the most in Mongols, people know this, it is Senzu, who on paper should be their best player. Like, it's one of those like down from Astralis things. In a weird counterintuitive sense, it's actually harder for me to rationalize how Aurora, if your best player does play well but you lose, can actually improve much more. That sounds like you've got a lot of fundamental issues. If in this case Mongols really is a pretty good team in the group stage, but their best player just plays way worse in the playoffs, that's one player that has to be fixed, mate. If that guy is also really young, if that person just himself fixes his issue, he gets over his thing, he gets some more confidence, he doesn't have as many maps, so he chokes, that alone will make you the team that you are in the group stage. Like I say, in the group stage, they could have beaten Vitality, mate. It was right there. They're one of the teams that I think made Vitality, when they won the event, say we weren't even playing our best at this event, because I think they actually were challenged for once. And then I'll just throw this out there as well. The upside of the fact that the pressure is going to be huge on the big dogs at the major is exactly that if you're a Mongols type team, you might sneak in there, mate. Maybe you nick a series off a mouse or something and you get to the semis. Like that, if the pressure's bigger on them, in theory, it's less on you. So yeah, I think it's an interesting angle. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.